Hello everybody, my name is Ava and welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. So today I am going to talk about a more sensitive topic. I wanted to talk about my experience with the mental health ward. Now in my hospital vlog you heard me talking about 6 East. That's what I was talking about. That was the mental ward in SHIO. So I will put a trigger warning out there because I'm going to be talking about medications and suicidal ideations and self-harming. So if you're triggered by that, then I don't recommend you watch this video. And sorry my voice is so groggy, I just got up. And I will be looking down a lot because I have a clipboard, so don't mind me. So I stayed in the ward 2 times. The first time I only stayed for about 5 or 6 days. So I had originally spoke with a doctor through a Psych, which is you speak to a doctor through TV, because I am in one city and he is in another, and it's impossible going up to Ottawa like all the time. So we saw him at a Psych. And he asked me about my depression and about my anxiety because the first time I went to the hospital I was really, really depressed. I had told him that I had numerous attempts where I cut myself. I had also had suicidal ideations, like I wanted to die and I had a plan. I was going to take a whole bunch of medications. So he recommended that I stay in 6 East because he didn't think I was safe. And so that night we went there and we got to the hospital. We got in the whole ward at about 8 or 9 o'clock. And so bedtime is at 10. And so they wanted me to unpack my stuff and go straight to bed. But my mom started to leave, and really, I have bad separation anxiety, so I started crying because I couldn't be separated from my mom. So she ended up staying with me, which made me feel so much better. The first night was extremely hard. I couldn't get to sleep at all. I mean, the door is wide open, the hallway lights are on, there's doctors walking around talking all night long. So that night, I did not get much sleep. And I'm sorry I can't give you all the details of the hospital because I only remember it in parts. I don't remember all of it for some reason. But anyway, the next morning, they gave me whatever was for breakfast because I didn't fill out a menu. Apparently, you have to fill out a menu like for the next day. So if it was like January 1st, that day, I would be making a sheet for January 2nd. And I don't like to complain much, but the food, it was okay, but some of it was really gross. And so I was only there for about 4 or 5 days. And oh my gosh, I felt extremely homesick. Like, every night I would think of, because we were able to use the phone, and I would call home and I would call my grandmother because, well, she's the only person that I really have at home besides my mother. So every night I would call her, and then after I'd call her I'd lay in bed feeling so sad. I didn't really get a pass to go around the hospital because usually you get this note that's saying that you can go out and like walk around the building and go to like the cafeteria, and you can play in the playground. And so I didn't really go out much the first time. I didn't go out at all. I was just too depressed. So every morning and every evening we would do something called group, and usually that's just brainstorming or just doing positive things. We did something like write down all the emotions we had. We did a worksheet about what we're grateful for. We got some coping techniques. We did some coloring. They also had downtime where you stayed in your room and you did absolutely nothing, or well, you did quiet things. That's the one thing I hated because I wanted to move around, I wanted to talk to people because of my ADHD. But no, there was quiet time 2 times a day that lasted an hour and a half. But I guess it wasn't so bad. I got some time to think and write and draw. And then at night, we would have tea time, and we'd have a cup of tea, and then one time on my first visit to the hospital, we made brownies. Also, if you ask one of the staff, you are able to get a snack or a glass of water. It was this big room that was locked, and you'd have to get one of the doctors to take you. They had things like chips and cookies and cakes and Rice Krispies and things like that. You would also get your medications every time you needed them. So this was when the Luvox had stopped. So I was withdrawing, and they gave me the Luvox to wean off. And so when I finally stopped it, they gave me another medication, the Cipralex. Then you had school in the morning and art in the afternoon, which was actually my favorite part. You would get worksheets sent from your school to the hospital, and you would do your work there. And then in the afternoon, after quiet time, you would come back, and then we would do art. That was my favorite part of the whole hospital experience. The only part I hated was they would come in your room in the morning, the doctors would come in your room in the morning, and they would take your vitals. And the first time I was there, he woke me up in the middle of the morning. I had woken up from REM sleep, so I was extremely tired and still dizzy, and he had the nerve to take my blood. So then you would have counseling. You'd have a doctor come in and tell you and ask you what the plan is for your discharge and how we're going to work on some goals. Now, I hated counseling because I didn't like talking to people. That's just Ava. But really, all the counselor would do would be to give me some coping methods. And so sooner or later, I was actually finally able to be discharged from it. But then the next year, I think, because I had gone the first time I got in October, right before Halloween, and I think the next time we went was about March. So I had another telepsych with my actual psychiatrist, the guy that I know. And I told him, I started crying in the middle of the thing. I told him that I don't feel safe with myself because the suicidal thoughts and the cutting had started coming back, and I was just so depressed, and I was also in that stage where I was afraid to die, but I wanted to die at the same time. So I got admitted back to 6 East. I was homesick again, and I think I was there for about a week. I was able to do a lot more things, like I was able to get a pass to go outside of the hospital. There we went to the movie theater and we got to see Moana. And I went and did some walking around the hospital. I got some Starbucks and some pizza at the cafeteria, and so I think the second time was a better experience for me than the first time. Because even in the first time, we got to do what's called pet therapy, and you get to just hang around with dogs all day. And after that, I cried because I missed my dog. That time, I didn't get any new medications. I was still given counseling, and I stayed with my mom again. But that was my hospital experience, I guess. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have gone to a mental hospital, or you are going to a mental hospital, just know that they're doing this because they want to help you. They don't hate you. They're gonna help you, and everything. You're gonna be okay. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!